Kristine, big Lady Gaga fan, and I saw her documentary a few times in the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
Absolutely banana behind the scenes.
Yeah.
Just all that goes into it. Is that one of the busier atmospheres you've ever worked in?
Yeah, it's similar to like a fashion week. You know, everything's got to be perfect, and that was really fun. It was cool showing up in Houston and then like being there. And at one point we had a little break.
That happens to us too, right, Dennis?
All the time.
All the time.
But being a huge Beatles fan, Sean Lennon called me.
I was just saying, John Lennon. I think
when Sean called me, I had to pull over. That was like the one. That was the one person I was like, wow, because.
So you were starstruck.
Starstruck, we caught you.
I'm a huge Beatles fan, so that was amazing. But I've gotten to work on cool people. I've gotten to work on Sean Young, Joan Jett, Jackie Martling. I honestly would have to look at my resume because I can't even remember everybody off the top of my head. And then really cool shows like the Super Bowl halftime show when Lady Gaga was there. And then really cool shows like the Super Bowl halftime show when Lady Gaga was there. We did the dancers and Kanye West Sunday services. We did like all his people, and I'll say he was actually really pleasant to work for.
Oh, that's cool. That's good to know, right?
And I've gotten invited to like really cool parties that I had no business being at.
What do you think it is about that makes people kind of open up, you know?
It's trust. You know, it's trust. Like the way that somebody looks is, it's everything to them. So like if you feel good about the way you look, when you feel good as a person and you're trusting myself or yourself, like to cosmetically make these people feel beautiful. So I went out to call FaceTime my whole family. They have a big Super Bowl party every year, and I had to back up because Vince Vaughn needed to get through.
That's unbelievable,
right?
On my face, I'm like, is that Vince Vaughn? Like, yeah.
Unbelievable.
You must get questions all the time, like when you go, who do you work with?
Yeah, I literally forget. Like, I have to like almost look at my resume, like, oh yeah, I forgot I did that.
Yeah. And welcome to the Apex Lifestyles Podcast. I'm your host, Bob GDMD, and I'm here as always with my co-host,
Dennis V. How you doing today, Bob?
I'm doing fantastic. We have a really beautiful day here in New England.
Unbelievable mid-70s, incredible May Day.
It's beautiful. And you know what? We have an amazing guest today.
Fabulous.
You know, you guys are in for a big treat today. We have a unbelievable hairstylist. We're going to have someone who does hair for some of the A-listers out there, celebrities, movie stars, fashionistas, what have you. We're going to get the tea on hair today. What do you think of that, Dennis?
It's unbelievable. Kristine Murillo, it is amazing to have you here today. We connected, I'd like to say, about 8 years ago. I interviewed you for a self-help book, Dating from the Millennial Male Perspective. Prosper Muna was on MTV's Are You the One? And first of all, thank you for doing that.
Yep.
Secondly, thank you for jumping on today. It has been amazing following you and your career. Welcome.
Thank you.
You're in New York, right?
I'm in Long Island, yeah.
Fantastic. And let me ask you, so you started off your hair career as a hairstylist in a small town? Yeah, so how does someone go from small town hairdressing to, doing the hair for the likes of Serena Williams?
So I say fake it till you make it. I was something I wanted. It's something I wanted to do. So I would pack a backpack, pack some business cards, pack some, hair things, and I'd go into the city, find out when and where the shows were, sit at the bar after the shows where everybody was going out afterwards to meet people and hand out cards and network. Once I met some photographers, I was able to get my portfolio going. Once I got my portfolio going, I would have to find out who the decision makers were, send it to the decision makers. It's a lot of no's until you get a yes. I got a few yeses, and then once those people start to trust you, they'll start referring you to other people looking for work, and it just kind of happened that way.
So it's kind of like when when I was a young guy trying to meet some, rock stars and what have you, and hanging outside by the bus afterwards, right?
Yeah, pretty much.
Asking for an
Gotta be in the
autograph,
right place at the right time,
Absolutely. That's industrious. I love that.
Yeah, it's a lot of networking. And I was told once, like, it's all about who you know. So get out there and know people. And so that's what I was doing.
So persistence is part of your vocabulary.
Absolutely.
Yeah, fantastic. So tell us about what was the first gig? Like who did you end up connecting with first, and how did that start to blossom? I think that's one of the things we always like to know is how do people make it up the trail?
I guess one of my first gigs was an indie film called Send No Flowers, and that was starring Sean Young and Jackie Martling. So once I got on that set, which was quite a few months, I had more to build off of on my resume, and then I did a few other indie films, and then I was doing like stuff for Reebok. I was doing like the campaigns, the hair for the Reebok campaigns. Connected with some other people that I got involved with Fashion Week as an assistant, and then was able to be hairstylist on set for that for multiple years in a row. I don't know. I just got to know people, and then I would get pulled on to different sets. So I've done a little bit of like indie films, magazine, runway, red carpet, and then I also would be doing other things in my career as far as like educating, salon owning, and just working behind my chair still. So kind of like all of these things just sort of put me on the right path.
How difficult is it to make it? What often happens when you see somebody, reaching their peak or earning these goals and doing the red carpets and magazines, everything, they see the goal that you've reached, but they don't, first of all, understand the blood, sweat, and tears that went into it.
A lot.
Also, they don't know how many people are fighting to get that same position you're at. And maybe
I don't really worry about what everybody else is doing. I mean, it's a lot of, sitting on my computer trying to find out who the decision makers are, and then sending all the information to them and following up with them. So there's a lot of work to be done before you can get one of these jobs. So it's really not like, I don't really feel like I'm competing with anybody, because I don't know, it's hard to explain, but it's a lot of behind the scenes.
Kristine, I like that. And that's a message, because I think if you spend a lot of time in life worrying about what other people are thinking, it could drive you mad.
Yeah.
And it could stand in the way of the progress that you're making. So it sounds like you have a goal, you focus on it, you go get it.
I focus on it. And I don't look at other hairstylists as competition, because we can help each other out. So if I need an assistant, maybe one of those other people that were applying that I know of can be my assistant, or vice versa. And we can help each other out in the end. So I don't really look at other people as like competitive like that.
Oh, I love that. I think that's great. And you know what? I'm really curious about what is it like during Fashion Week. What's the pressure like? Like it seems like there's going to be a lot of hair changes, a lot of style changes, and then knowing what's going on with the latest styles and making sure that everybody's hair is perfect. I mean, Dennis and I have to worry about our hair a lot, obviously. So this is kind of outside of our comfort zone in a way. But I'm really curious about that. Tell the listeners what it's like to be prepping people for Fashion Week.
It's just organized chaos. It is. You get in there and you go over the look with whoever the lead is, and then once we get the look, it's just model, and it's just chaos. And we have to get all the hair done, all the models ready, everybody lines up, make sure that they're perfect. We're running out onto the runway to make sure that they still look perfect in case we have to do touch-ups. And then for 3 hours, it's total chaos. And then they walk out for a whole 5 minutes, and then we do another show. So once they get onto the runway, it looks like everything's like smooth operations, but backstage is just total chaos. But it's fun.
How much preparation goes into it?
There's a lot of preparation. I mean, we get sponsored by multiple companies, so they'll, our products and our tools and stuff are usually sponsored. And then, from there, we have to get, so we're on a team, so we have to meet with the lead and we have to see what the looks are. The lead is meeting up with the designers to get the looks from them. And it all has to work. We all have to work together for it to work at all. So it's a lot of work behind the scenes, but it's fun.
I saw a picture with Serena and Kim Kardashian. Did you, if I learned you did Serena's show?
I did Serena's show, yeah.
What was that like?
That was amazing. So they had all of the shows, but for Serena's show, they shut down the whole place. It was on complete lockdown, and then they changed out all of the seatings. Everything was 100% white seats, white cloths. Like everything was just totally different, and anybody that was anybody was at that show. That was a really fun show.
Do you get starstruck?
I don't. Yeah, I don't get starstruck. I'm there
ever or more so because you're working in that environment.
Yeah. I'm kind of used to it. Like it's like they're just people too. You know, their job's just in the limelight, so people know their faces and that. But a lot of them they're really nice. They're just like you and I. They're just people.
So what kind of homework do you do before you have to be in that high pressure situation for each of the I can imagine. So what I do for a living, right? I have I'm developing, smiles, right? Mm-hmm. Based on people's face and lips and, facial structure, things like that. Like what kind of homework do you do for the models that you're going to be working with beforehand so that you kind of know the approach that you're going to do?
We don't know. That's the problem.
Oh, that's fun. That makes it fun. So you're going to do it on the fly.
Yeah. My kid has everything from rollers to shears to, hair extensions. I mean, I'm prepared for anything that's going to come up. Every product.
Well, I don't know much about hair extensions, but I can imagine from what I've seen, it takes a long time to get those in there. I mean, how do you do that on the fly like that?
When you're working on set, it's clip-ins.
Oh, okay. It's not these times that I see people suturing hair in,
No, that's what I do with the Salon.
I see. All right. Cool.
Kristine,
sometimes we have a heads up, and if that's the case, I need to know what the looks are prior to, so I know exactly what to pack, and I still always bring my emergency stuff with me. And then I got kind of sometimes we'll have to do research on, if I get told like, okay, you're working on so and so, I do a little bit of research and just kind of see what their looks are usually like, kind of have an idea going into it. Same thing with the designers, kind of see what their clothing looks like to kind of see what kind of hairstyles are going to go with it.
That's got to be a big endeavor, like looking at a style, a fashion style. Like I don't know, I can't wrap my head around it, but it's so far out of my comfort zone. I wouldn't know where to begin. But yeah, for sure. So are you doing colors when you're doing these fashion weeks too, or no?
No, that's at the salon.
Because that I think would be dangerous.
Yeah.
Right.
I mean, I'm not saying that we've never done color or cuts on a set before. It has happened, but it's not likely.
Yeah.
What's your anxiety level like? Because I imagine the pressure, the stress, and everything. Do you stay really calm? Explain that.
So when I first started, I honestly I felt like I would need a Xanax on the plane because I was on the train. I'm sorry, because I was so oh my God, nervous. And then as I started doing it more and more, it went from anxiety to excitement. And now I just I'm excited about it, not really nervous about it.
What really comes off, Kristine, is you just every time you talk about your work and what you do, you smile.
I love it.
You look like you love it, and that is absolutely obvious. What advice can you give to the younger Kristine Murillos out there looking to jump into the industry and get to where you're at?
If you want it bad enough, you'll make it happen. You just gotta focus on it. While everybody was out partying and out with the friends and out at the bars, and I was in my 20s, I was in the city and I was, networking and doing what I had to do and giving up that to have this. And now I got the best of both worlds and I love it.
Yeah, that's that sacrifice thing, right?
Ooh,
Dennis,
yeah.
We were talking a lot about that just a few days ago. I think we were putting together something about that. That was that. It's true though, right? You have to sacrifice one thing to get another.
Yeah,
right?
so
absolutely.
What happened with me is I lost my house in Hurricane Sandy, and it was something that I always wanted to really do. So when it was either I was going to focus and make it happen, or I was going to go down a rabbit hole and be depressed. So I used it as ammo, and I just went full force, and then it just took off, and it was great.
Well, and we're talking Fashion Week, we're talking about shows, but that's not. And if that's all you did in your life, that's great. But that's not all Kristine does. You have your own shop.
I do.
you want to explain it? It's boutique, correct?
I have a boutique salon. It's called Fedora Hair Salon, Fedora Lounge. It's located in Port Jefferson, and we're full service. There's a staff of 9. Everybody works in shifts. It's a great location, and yeah, that's my salon.
And you just opened up another component to that salon?
I did. So now I
want to explain it?
A friend of mine who is actually a nail professional who also works Fashion Week and all this fun stuff. Her and I kind of joined forces, and we opened up a clothing boutique. So that is called Fashion and Fedora, and that's kind of a branch off of the salon, and it's just fun. We love fashion, we love hair, we love clothes, we love all of it. So we kind of like merge it all together, and we're loving it. It's so fun.
So you're jumping into other areas of fashion. The industry now. Yeah, absolutely. That's really cool.
Yeah. It's like a one-stop shop. Like you could come in, get your hair done, get a cute outfit, then go out on the town.
Kristine, how have things changed in the industry since you've been here? Have you seen kind of like it evolve in a certain way? Or
I'm seeing it go full circle. Like things that I started that I was learning kind of left. Like I'll say, for example, hair extensions. So the sew-in method was big, and the K-tips and I-tips, you guys probably don't know what that is, but other hairstylists will.
No clue.
Those were like just for the rich and famous, I guess. And then they became more popular, and now it went back to the sew-ins again, and now people are starting to see the K-tips again, and it's sort of like I'm watching everything come back around, I'm just watching it just kind of go in a big circle.
Yeah, it's interesting because things trend.
Yeah.
They leave, they come back, and you already have the practice.
Virtual learning wasn't a thing. So now they have, all this education right on their computers. Like we didn't have all that, we didn't have Pinterest or TikTok or any of these social medias. So we literally would take photos, put them in a picture, like an album, to show our clients our work. We didn't have all of this internet stuff. And we'd have magazines that they would pick styles out of the magazine. So like, that's totally different.
So people are doing the research before they come to you now.
Yeah, they come in and they have, a Pinterest board, say, or, screenshots in their phone. And that was something that wasn't a thing when I started. So it's kind of cool. Yeah.
And also you're doing some traveling. You're doing some educating. Do you want to talk about that?
Yeah.
That's really cool.
Yeah. So now I'm also, I'm an educator for our hair extensions and regional educator for the tri-state area. I get to go to different beauty schools, and I certify them in 4 methods of extensions. And then also I just recently got a job doing substitute cosmetology teacher. So just throw that on the list.
I just saw that today. That's really, really cool.
Today.
That's awesome. So what days you open? Are you open like a Tuesday through Saturday?
We're open Tuesday through Saturday.
So Mondays, is that your education day?
So I'm not there Tuesday through Saturday anymore. I've cut my hours behind the chair a little bit because the salon, it doesn't need training wheels anymore. It's kind of, riding by itself now. So I can step away from that and I can do other things that I love. Mondays and Tuesdays are typically education days where I'm either at a school for extensions or I'll be doing subbing as well.
That's really cool.
Yeah.
So what's the let's get back to the starlight here,
okay.
Right?
Yep.
Who's the biggest star you've done that you like, the biggest A-lister you've had the opportunity to style on?
When people ask me that question, every generation has a different star to say.
For sure. Yeah, for sure.
That's hard to answer because when I go into the beauty schools and I tell them people I've worked on, they look at me like I have 10 heads.
That happens to us too, right, Dennis?
All the time.
But being a huge Beatles fan, Sean Lennon called me.
John Lennon. I think
when Sean called me, I had to pull over. That was like the one. That was the one person I was like, wow, because
so you were starstruck.
Starstruck. We caught you.
I'm a huge Beatles fan, so that was amazing. But I've gotten to work on cool people. I've gotten to work on Sean Young, Joan Jett, Jackie Martling. I honestly would have to look at my resume because I can't even remember everybody off the top of my head. And then really cool shows like the Super Bowl halftime show when Lady Gaga was there. We did the dancers, and Kanye West Sunday services. We did like all his people, and I'll say he was actually really pleasant to work for.
Oh, that's cool. That's good to know, right?
And I've gotten invited to like really cool parties that I had no business being at, but like the Leather and Lace party, it was hosted by Adriana Lima and Brooklyn Decker. That was when the Super Bowl was here at Giant Stadium. And I went to some fundraising dinner that was hosted by the Hiltons and the Trumps. So like I get to go to all of these events that are just really fun.
So I'm going to go into some murky waters here. You just mentioned you've met Donald Trump. You haven't done his hair.
No.
Right? But you got up close to it.
I did. Yep.
Right. So do you have any insight on what's going on over there?
I'm not really sure.
Right.
I think that's his hair himself.
Yeah. Well, it's definitely an interesting an interesting style, let's say.
Yeah.
So
I laugh at all those AIs of Donald Trump that they changed like his entire hairstyle, and it's like you should listen to them.
Yeah, right. It's kind of don't mean to jest in anyone's but I guess if you put yourself out in the public, you got to have some of that.
Yeah, comes with it.
Kristine, big Lady Gaga fan, and I saw her documentary a few times in the Super Bowl.
Yeah,
absolutely banana behind the scenes.
Yeah.
Just all that goes into it. Is that one of the busier atmospheres you've ever worked in?
Yeah, it's similar to like a fashion week. Everything's got to be perfect, and yeah, that was really fun. It was cool showing up in Houston and then like being there. And at one point we had a little break, so I went out to FaceTime my whole family. They have a big Super Bowl party every year, and I had to back up because Vince Vaughn needed to get through.
That's unbelievable,
right?
On my face, I'm like, is that Vince Vaughn? Like, yeah.
Unbelievable.
You must get questions all the time, like when you go, who do you work with?
Yeah, I literally forget. Like, I have to like almost look at my resume. Like, oh yeah, I forgot I did that.
Yeah. So, this because of the pre-interview interview, right? But I'm a dentist and I run a facial aesthetics and cosmetic dentistry office. And what's interesting is when I'm in my dentist role, right? People are very closed off. They're scared. They're not necessarily happy to be there getting what they have done. But as soon as I pull out that Botox needle, it's like I almost become a hairdresser, right? And they start spilling all sorts of stuff and speaking to me in ways that, like, right? And it's unbelievable. Like, and I can imagine that happens, in a hair salon. I've not spent a lot of time in a hair salon, but I joke with my staff. I said, I'm going to become a hairdresser now, so I'm going to go and do some lips and Botox, right? And it's kind of interesting. What do you think it is about that makes people kind of open up?
It's trust. It's trust. Like somebody, the way that somebody looks is, it's everything to them. So like if you feel good about the way you look, when you feel good as a person and you're trusting myself or yourself, like to cosmetically make these people feel beautiful. So once they have that trust in you, they feel like they can just open up and they'll tell you everything. It's like a magic chair.
Yeah, it's crazy. Some of the conversations they borderline on inappropriate for my ears. It's kind of funny, actually.
I always say, you really want to know the truth, like go right to the hairstylist. Because
that's right. That's right. Or the injector, I guess, for that matter. Yeah.
What's interesting, you go to get your hair cut or whatever, and people gravitate to one individual that they're connected with. They'll make an appointment, or if there's a line, they'll wait.
I would say it's like, yeah, obviously you need to have skill, but it's a lot of personality. You want to connect with that person. Like I said, it's a lot of trust.
Yeah, for sure. Have you ever had an opportunity where you had a high profile client and things didn't necessarily turn out the way that they had hoped?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and how did that? Can you tell? You don't have to mention names, but like, can you tell us like an anecdote? That'd be really interesting for the people.
Sure. I was shown a look, and this particular person was not shown the look. I did my part of the job, and this person grabbed the brush out of my hands, went in the bathroom, soaked their hair. And it was really tough because that was like my first like experience with that, I guess. But then I realized it was a personality thing on their behalf. Fast forward though, I'm actually like super close to this person now. I've done multiple jobs with this person, and it ended up being okay in the end. But it was definitely like, whoa, at first, like, the
that's an
pressure's on,
interesting.
and you're like, did I not do a good job? And why are they mad at me? And then you find out like it really had nothing to do with you, but yeah,
that's happened to me a few times too. More so when I was younger, but it's always a little bit. And luckily, I do see some high profile clients as well. But luckily, knock on wood, I haven't had any issues there.
Got to have thick skin, right?
Yeah, you do have to have thick skin. That's for sure.
I'd say what's next for Kristine Murillo, but I don't know what else you can add. You're just doing it.
Sure either. I just keep on. At this point, I've really like hit everything on my bucket list. So now it's like I'm at the point where I just pick and choose what I want to do.
So it sounds like you've attained your apex.
Yeah.
Right. That's kind of the tenet of our show is people reaching a pinnacle in their career and their lives. I had done that a couple of times, and what ends up happening is I step at the top of that hill, and then I see another hill in the distance. I say, oh, maybe it's that one.
Yeah.
And then, then we end up with a podcast. So anyway.
Yeah. It's so nice to see that with grit, determination, confidence, overcoming obstacles, everything didn't come easy. And you didn't.
Not at all.
And just hearing all the legwork you had in New York City, if you haven't been to New York City, it's really busy.
Yeah.
And to get people to connect with, trust, you work so hard to get in the position that you're in. And obviously, you can't just be a hustler. You have to be good at what you're doing.
Yeah. Yeah, there's a lot of moving parts with this entity, I guess, of the career. You can work behind the chair in the salon, and that's great. But then if you want to move ahead and do all of this, there's a bigger world out there. It's hard. It's hard to get your foot in that door. And once you do, you really have to prove to people that you're for real, because they don't want, there's something called set etiquette, and you really want to follow through with that 100%, because you won't be invited back to these gigs.
That's highly important, right? Yeah. It's if you don't want anyone to
like you need to
say,
put my phone away.
You can't have her back. Yeah,
phones are not allowed. There's no pictures. It's not about social media. You can talk about it. I've signed more NDAs in my life.
Of course, right?
I've worked on Bridezillas. I've worked on Ice Loves Coco. Like all those the Real Housewives. Like those are all reality shows, and you can't talk about them. They didn't air yet, and if you're the person to let that out, you're never invited back again.
So with that, the Real Housewives, right? Is that reality, or is that stage reality?
No, it is not staged. Some of these reality shows are staged. Let me tell you something. I was in the apartment and in the car with one of them when there were no cameras in sight, and the drama was real. They were on the phone fighting.
Wow. Wow. It's unbelievable.
Yeah.
I actually was with my friend Dave Dennis, right? Dave and I were out one night a long time ago now. It was maybe like 8 years ago, and someone came up to me, and I guess I looked like one of the housewives from I think it was New York, actually. That one of their boyfriends apparently, and they were convinced I was that guy. Like, there's no way, That's kind of funny, But yeah, that's drama llama right there. That whole thing.
It sells though, right? That's why they have.
Of course it does. Yeah.
You just think,
right.
I mean, when was it Real World was one of, if not the first reality show, and now reality shows they're on all the streaming services. They're everywhere, and people keep watching them.
Yeah, yeah. Like I did, some of the people from Below Deck for some magazines and stuff like that, and I didn't even watch the show then. But like now, I watch everything, and I'm like, some of it's real, some of it, some of the shows are definitely staged. But most of them are pretty right on.
What does Kristine do in her free time?
I go on the boat. I drink wine. I go to the winery.
I see water behind you there.
Yeah, I'm home. So this is my backyard.
Oh, that's not terrible.
No.
Incredible.
Yeah, that's not terrible.
It's nice. I like being home. see my friends, you know.
I mean, what else is there really? I mean, friends and a nice home, and you got a beautiful view there. You got water at your
Me and
feet.
my
I mean, what else
husband
can you
are
ask for?
both not here right now. It's getting ready at the mechanic for Memorial Day weekend, but we'll take the boat and we do some boating trips, and you know, we couldn't really do too much because my older dog was sick, so we kind of had to stay put. But now we'll be able to go do that again.
Gets to be a beautiful time of year. Memorial Day comes to the summer. You're going to enjoy.
Yeah, for sure. And I cut back my hours behind the chair, so I'll have every other weekend free.
Well deserved.
Yeah. So
But
how can people find you if they want to follow you, if they want to end up heading over to you and get a new style done, or one of your stylists that you work with? Why don't you tell everybody where they can find you?
sure. So my salon is fedoraloungehair.com. Myself is KristineMurillo.com. And my clothing is fashionandfedora.com.
Fantastic.
Any of them, yeah.
So Dennis, what do you think of this one? This one was fantastic. You know, getting all the tea on all the celebrities and Fashion Week and the Super Bowl, and you know, a little bit of Donald Trump's hair, I guess, and some real housewives, and I mean, we hit it all.
No, this is tremendous. Kristine, you talk about full circle, coming back full circle.
Yeah.
Connected about 8 years ago, and you just continue to rise, do great things. You have such a great presence.
Thank you.
And it's amazing to see you reaching your apex, and
Yeah.
you're the same person I spoke to 8 years ago. So keep doing your thing, and really, really proud of you. And honored to have you on the show. Thank you for accepting.
Thank you for having me.
Pleasure.
And it was my pleasure to meet you virtually, and at some point we're going to meet in real life. I'm sure of that.
Sure.
And you know, I am really pleased and honored that you came on and took the time to meet with us. And what would you tell if you were to start over, like today, right? How would you go about it? Would you still go and you know, seek out people the way you did, or you would try it online? Like, what's the advice you'd give to your younger self? I guess I know that's usually Dennis's question, but
Good question. Anytime.
I wouldn't change anything about how I got here, because I'm very proud of it, because I did it myself. Like, you know, I didn't know somebody that just got me in the door. I went out there and met people, and I networked, and I proved myself to the right people, and you know, I got all these jobs on my own. So I think I'm more proud of that. So I wouldn't have changed anything. And I think that, you know, there's a lot online, there's a lot on the internet, but the best way is just getting out there in person and just being personable with people.
That's great advice you can give individuals for any facet of life that they're running, whatever the profession is, whatever their endeavors are, is hard work, grit, determination. Go get it if you want
goals. Like make baby goals. Like I made these little baby goals where I would work Fashion Week. It's just fashion shows during Fashion Week. Like, and I would do all these little baby shows to get myself like, okay, so this is how shows go. So I didn't jump right into the big shows. You know, I had to do all those little baby shows that were barely paid, if paid at all. Like they were just, you know, it was like a hobby. And I'm like, one day it's going to pay off. One day it's going to pay off. And then I didn't want to do those little baby shows anymore, because now I can do a bigger show, and, you know, and I grew myself. So I make baby goals, and then you make bigger goals.
That is fantastic advice. And I have one last question before we end our session today. But you've been a great guest, but you know, you're stranded on a desert island. What 3 hair products are you going to bring with you? You can only bring 3.
Products. Okay. Dry shampoo. I think I only need that one.
That's it?
That would be my go-to.
Okay.
Instead, I would need a brush and a hair tie.
All right.
It's a great question, Bob.
See? You
I
know,
love that.
For a follically challenged middle-aged guy, I think I came up with a good one there.
Dry shampoo is going to be my number one there. Maybe some treatment oil for the ends, and there's no water, so yeah.
You know, and
yes.
and I have a follow-up from my significant other. Can you use coconut water and leave it in as like a conditioner? I don't know where that came from, but like that's just.
I mean, it's all natural. I'm sure you could. I haven't tried it.
Well, I'll let her know that coming from the horse's mouth. You know, that was not my question. That was somebody else's. So anyway,
great.
Dennis,
it's go time. Thank you once again, Kristine.
Thanks for having
Great
me.
to have you.
and a distinct pleasure. And thank you so much for taking the time. And we're going to be looking out for Kristine and on all the fashion pages, and she's going to be spilling the tea somewhere, I'm sure, down the.
I usually am. You could just Google my name. Sometimes it pops up in different.
Right. All right.
Love it.
So follow Kristine, and she'll tell you all the dirt and
all the dirt.
And we're going to catch it all real soon. And Dennis, we have a big announcement, man.
Yes, May 22nd. DMC is coming to Apex Lifestyles for a great pop-up event. You've connected with them before?
It's me?
Yeah.
Yes. I did Zuri's hair a few times, Daryl's wife, who's the D in DMC. And yeah, she's awesome. They're awesome. They're a great couple. They're great people.
Fantastic.
Looking forward.
Looking forward to it. So Dennis, this is a wrap, man. This is episode, I guess, number 15, I think.
Yes, it is.
Right? So this is a wrap. Thank you so much. And Kristine, I'm looking forward to watching your career as you kind of continue on your path. It's been a really distinct pleasure. And Dennis,
it's go time.